My name is Amber Christner, and I am a software engineering major.
My name is Chad Eggington. I'm also a software engineering major.
And I am Michael Hollingsworth, and I am a software engineering major. Presentation. If you'd open up the slides, we will be proposing to modify the BYU Idaho Grad Planner. Next slide. In this presentation, we're going to cover our problem with the Grad Planner, our objectives, what our plan is to complete the proposal, our budget, the personnel and qualifications of our team, and what facilities and equipment will be needed. Next slide. What is the BYUI Grad Planner? It is an online tool that is used to help students plan their classes from their first semester to graduation. Taking the time to plan will help students graduate more efficiently. Students with high credits must submit a grad plan for approval from the Academic Discovery Center every semester. The current grad planner is not an efficient and accurate tool for plan to graduation. We propose to rebuild the BYUI grad planner to include the academic catalog, degree audits, and recommended course sequences. As shown in the figure to the right, we get more intuitive and responsive, and we want to make it, sorry, my computer is.
You still there?
How important it is for students to complete the grad plan. Yes, can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you now. There was a delay or something.
Can you not hear me?
Nope, you're good.
Can you guys not hear me?
No, we can hear you. You just cut out for a little while. You were just explaining the figure.
My notes just got all screwed up, and I'm trying to fix it. I'm sorry. Okay, so you guys, the last thing you heard was the figure?
Yeah, you were explaining the figure.
Okay, because I've done like the next slide since then. So let me.
Oh.
No, that's okay. We can jump forward wherever you want to start. Continue. Good.
Okay, so I'll finish with the. Can we like cut this down so I can? Okay, so I'll start back with the figure. The figure on the right shows that we want to redesign the user interface and make it more intuitive, and we want to have the course sequence have autofill.
Are you guys all still there?
Students would benefit from the proposed grad planner by having a more streamlined way. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
to make the grad planner its own tab on the student dashboard to make it more accessible for students. Students will benefit from the proposed grad planner way of planning their classes. Having an efficient plan will prevent students from taking any unnecessary courses. By having a more streamlined will result in quicker graduation. And submitted it for approval. She was an on-campus student, and within a 2-day time frame, she went back and forth from her. And the new and improved grad planner would get rid of in her apartment to the Academic Discovery Center 5 times, instances such as these. Next slide. Who are we? We are students at BYU.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah, we're just, I mean, you've been moving the whole time. She's just bugging out a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if it's best at this point to just pick up where she left off, or...
Yeah, we might need to do that. Amber, can you hear? Okay, you can hear. Okay. Yeah, I'll just start going.
That's cool.
So are you guys on the slide who we are?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the next slide. So for our problem statement, there's a few problems with the current grad plan application. First of all, it's slow. It's buggy. It's lacking in features, things that could really help out the process, and it's inflexible. So we'll kind of go over those in further detail here. Next slide. So it's slow, and I don't just mean that it's slow like when you're in the application it's slow. It's slow to even start using the application because it won't run in your browser without the Silverlight plugin. So the freshmen or first-time users will have to go in. They'll click on it and it'll say, "Oh, you can't use this unless you have Silverlight." Maybe you already have it installed, but if you don't, that process can take a while and slow you down, and then you can have complications along the way. Recently, I got a new computer and I was trying to install it, and I tried 3 or 4 different times, and then finally, eventually, I don't know, I restarted my computer or something, and I finally got it to work. Aside from that, or not aside from it, but with that, actually, mobile. A lot of people will use tablets or their smartphones, and maybe they didn't bring their computer, and they're just, "Oh, I'll whip out my iPad and I'll do my grad planner." Well, you can't. It's not going to work on a mobile device. So we want to be able to change that. Now, like I was saying before, it is slow. It's still getting started to use it, but actually when you do start using it, it's slow. And that can cause problems because it can be confusing. If you click on a drop-down menu and it doesn't drop down right away, users can be like, "Oh, maybe that's not a button," and then they go somewhere else and click on a thing. Before you know it, they've clicked a bunch of things, and then that's slowing down the application even more, and it's confusing and real frustrating. So that's one of the problems. Next slide. It's buggy. I've had a lot of situations myself where I've been using it, and it'll say, "Oh yeah, you can take this class in the fall, and then I'll continue on doing my grad plan, and I'll finish it up and I'll submit it, and then I'll get an email saying, 'Sorry, but that class isn't offered, during that semester.'" And so it's like, oh, great, I need to go back and redo, from there on my grad plan, and so that can be frustrating. You may also run into a problem where it's like, oh, you can't take this class until you've taken this one. This happens a lot of times with math. A lot of times we'll have taken certain math classes in high school and have met that requirement, but you'll be looking at a class and try to add it. And like, oh, no, you need to take this math first. And so it's inflexible that way, it's buggy that way, and it's out of date. If you go to the next slide, here's an example of how it can be out of date. So in this situation, somebody was filling out their grad plan, an online student, and they're like, okay, I want to take this CS class in the summer. Well, if they're an online student, they need all the classes to be online, and that class isn't offered online until spring of 2016. You may also run into an issue where in the summer, that's not a semester. That's just 6 weeks. I've had situations where I've scheduled classes for that, and it's like that's fine. And I had the same issue where, like I said, I go on through I fill out the rest of my grad plan, I submit it, and I get an email back, it's like, sorry, it's not approved. You might want to double check that class in the summer. That's not even offered in the summer. I'm like, oh man, okay. Next slide. So it's lacking in features. It allows you to plan your classes, but what if you don't even know where to start? So some of the features that we are going to implement and would suggest would be an autocomplete feature. This would be great for freshman students coming in who, like I said, maybe they have no idea where to start. It's kind of intimidating. With an autocomplete, it would be like, it would pull your major in, say, okay, you're this major, it's your first semester, here's the recommended sequence of taking classes, and it'll just fill it out for you. You know what, even if you're not a freshman, even if you have a good idea, that auto feature will save you a ton of time, because then you just kind of rearrange a couple classes instead of drag and dropping classes to plan it out all one at a time. So that would be a great feature to add to the grad plan application. Another one would be the sample grad plans. That would kind of be the situation with the autofill. But maybe you want to see a different order, an alternative order. Another one would be adding more information, adding things like when classes are going to be available online or which semester's classes are available. This kind of coincides a little bit with the bugs, where it just allows classes willy-nilly and they're not even being offered. Things like your degree audit, maybe made in a more simple view, and some of the other papers, class descriptions, things like that. That they are available, but it would be nice if we made them easier to access in the new grad plan. Next slide. Okay, it's inflexible. We talked about this a little bit. Let's say that you're doing your grad plan and you're like trying to decide between two majors. So you're like, oh, do I want to be software engineering or do I want to be computer science? It would be a great feature to allow you to have multiple grad plan options, maybe, a plan A and a plan B. And you can experiment and do, what if scenarios. What if I was to use this minor or this, these electives, and just kind of experiment that way. Another problem is exceptions. There are a lot of exceptions. Recently, I switched majors, and one of the classes that I'm required to take, I had already taken the next level, and so I'm like, well, do I really need to go back and take the intro class because I'm already well on my way? And I don't. I've talked to them. I can get an override, but in the grad planner, it's telling me, nope, you can't even add this class to make your grad plan because you have to have this one in there first. And so it really, there's not much room or flexibility. Next slide.
Okay, so we have the Gantt chart on that.
Hello?
Okay, because of the better features, our proposed grad planner, our objectives would be to have the incoming freshmen for the spring 2016 semester complete their grad plans for any given major offered. Next slide.
Okay, so the plan, first things first, we want a complete redesign of the application. We want to make it faster, we want to make it more intuitive. And what I mean by that is we want to make better use of the space. Right now, if you want to go find a class and its description, there's a lot of clicking. We want to decrease the number of clicks that you have to make to find a description. We want to have bigger icons and images, and so you can get a better feel for what you're doing. We also want to have it so that you can click on a button and see some of those documents that we were talking about that would be helpful information when you're making your grad planner. We want it to be faster for sure. Right now, web technologies are getting faster. They're getting more features, and so if we can have it in the browser, then it can be used on mobile platforms. It can be quick. It can be intuitive. We want to make it more efficient. Like we talked about before, we want to have that autofill feature with the recommended sequence of classes. We want to have quick links to other places where you can get helpful information, maybe the teacher's contact information if you want to request special permission to move something, and those kinds of things. Next slide.
Okay. So now we have the Gantt chart of the Grad Planner project. It shows a week-by-week duration of when each phase will be completed. The initial design and functionality of the user interface will take 2 weeks. When we have a prototype, we will conduct user testing, which will take a total of 3 weeks. 1 week to gather data and 1 week to analyze the data, and 1 week to redesign the interface based on feedback we get from UI students and the academic advisors. When it is redesigned, we will do another round of testing and analyze the results. That will take another 2 weeks. So this whole design phase will take 7 weeks. After we have the design, we will start the building phase. This phase will take 4 months as we write the logic code for the application, write the API to access data that includes the student's degree audit and academic course logs. After the building phase, we will start testing the software. We will begin beta testing during the fall of 2015 semester, and then depending on the feedback that we get from beta testers, debugging errors will be fixed within 4 months. Finally, after all errors and bugs are fixed, we will release the new application, and we plan to release it during the spring 2016 semester. Next slide.
All right, so the budget for all this is pretty simple. Again, it will take an estimated 53 weeks to complete it. We can each work 30 hours a week right now, and so it's a simple calculation of 25 hours a week for the project manager and 20 hours for both engineers. And so the total cost, like you see, is $103,350. And then once it's complete, we would estimate a $15,000 budget for keeping it updated every year, fixing bugs, and just maintaining it. Next slide.
Personnel and qualifications. We have the project manager, which would be me, Amber Christner. I am a software engineering major with skills in programming, C++, JavaScript, HTML, and PHP. As project manager, I will ensure that all roles are fulfilled and that all duties performed correctly and efficiently, while also contribute in the software development. Next is software engineer, which will be Chad Hinton. He is a software engineering major with experience in creating different types of web and mobile applications. He is proficient in JavaScript, PHP, MySQL, and Java. And as software engineer, he will be the leader of the team in the development maintenance, testing, and evaluation of the application. Next is our design engineer, Michaelyn Hollingworth. She is a software engineering major with experience in building dynamic websites and web applications. She is proficient in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, MySQL, and Java. As design engineer, she will design the user interface of the application and will work alongside Chad to develop conceptual and detailed designs for the project. Next slide. Facilities and equipment. Facilities will not be needed because we will be developing remotely from around the world. And equipment will not be needed because we will be using our own personal computers. Next slide. And so to wrap this up, I'm going to reiterate what we just talked about. So there's a problem and we want to fix it. The problem is that the current grad planner is slow, inflexible, and inaccurate. We're introducing a new redesign for the grad planner, adding new features that make it more accurate and precise. The cost of the project will be $103,350 and will take 53 weeks to complete. We have a very detailed and organized plan to execute this project, and we are qualified personnel to take responsibility for this project, and we want to see it through. And we plan to release this new application during the spring 2016 semester. The new grad planner will save time and money for both students and the university. Students will expect to graduate in 8 semesters instead of 9 or 10 semesters or more. And so we want you to help us to better the future of Brigham Young University, Idaho. Thank you.
Okay, questions and answers?
Right.
So you talk about getting the issues with Silverlight. What would you use to replace that? And so are you more modifying the grad planner, or are you kind of just connecting it to iLearn, a whole different application, I guess?
So we'd be completely rebuilding it, and we'd be building it on technologies that just run in the browser to make it more agile.
You know what languages you guys be using?
We are proficient in JavaScript and PHP, so we'd be using those. We'd probably use a bit of Angular, and then probably MySQL or whatever the school uses for their database storage.
That should work on mobile devices and tablets. Can you hear my question?
No, I can't hear your question.
I'm saying, like, you replace the platform, so you use JavaScript, Angular. So does that work with mobile devices and tablets?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So one of the questions I had is, you mentioned a lot about how you would love to add more things. You know, you said, oh, we'd love to add an option to be able to have a suggested grad plan pre-filled for you, how you'd love to be able to save more than one in case you wanted to switch majors or whatever. What are your guys' core objectives? Like, what do you plan on, like, what are your main goals, and then what are more of your stretch goals?
I'd say the main goals is to minimize the amount of time people have to spend in the grad planner. Well, I guess not so much the grad planner, but minimize the amount of time they have to spend in the academic advising office. You know, asking questions, getting clarification, getting overrides, you know, all those things. They may actually spend more time in the application if it has more features and allows them to do more exploration. So the goal really is to, so the main goals would be make it more of a modern user interface, so it's more intuitive, make it faster, the stretch goals would be we want to be able to add, like you were saying, have multiple grad plans at a time, and add, the different links to the different descriptions, or to have those embedded. But like I said, the main objective is make it faster, make it easier to use, so people get graduating faster.
Anything else? That's all we got for you.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome.